After a successful launch in 2024, CCM had no choice but to bring back Women in Government. The initial meeting celebrated the hard path that many women have had to make to get a seat at the table. But the group made it clear, now that they're at the table, they were not giving up the seat. Joining us today are Anna Tushar-Kingland from Bloomfield and Donna Hamsey, a CCM consultant, two members in our advisory board to talk about the importance of a group like this and this year's event. The Municipal Voice is the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities podcast in collaboration with WNHH LP 103.5 FM. I'm your host, Matt Ford. As always, be sure to give us a like and let us know what you're thinking in the comments. CCM's Municipal Voice podcast continues to present a key forum on important state and local issues. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the consensus views of CCM or member municipal leaders.
Mayor Kingland, Donna, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. So the reason we have you both on today is because you were both involved with the Women in Government Summit. This is going to be the second one of these we're doing. I know, Donna, you were involved last time. Mayor, were you involved with the first one as well?
So it's Anatasha, sorry.
Oh, Anatasha, okay.
That's okay. I actually was not involved with it, but I was an attendee.
Oh, okay. So you're coming back around. So now you are sort of in government. That's cool.
Correct.
So yeah, before we get to some of that stuff, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you come from being an attendee to, being the guest of honor in some ways?
Sure. So I come from 24 years experience in the private sector,
Okay.
from insurance. And post that, I decided to look for another job. And that other job landed me here in my town where I live. I figured that I would try to get a position here with the town of Bloomfield since I live here, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to live, shop, work where in all in one, right?
Yeah.
And what that did for me is also allow me to work as a public servant to give back to my community.
And why is that important to you? Why did you think going into local government was a good way to serve your community, and why is that important to you?
Sure, because as a resident, as a resident, I feel that it's important because I want to be able to help people and assist in the way that I can from, if it's even like, say, a cleanup day or a shred day, any activities involved, that would what
Yeah.
would be my opportunity to give back and assist and volunteer.
Great. So Donna, kind of it's a kind of obvious question, but just to why are we having this event? Why is it important that we have women in local government?
Yeah, I think it's important just in general to create a sense of community in whatever, sort of organization or activities you're involved in. So this opportunity presented itself last year for women in local government. And really, I think just it's expanded a little bit to general Connecticut government to come together and create a sense of community around our profession.
That's really cool. So obviously you've both spent a lot of time in this realm, but was there someone, that inspired you? If you're right now hoping through this to inspire others, who inspired you to kind of get into public service or just leadership? Donna, you have anyone?
Yeah, so my cousin Bill Hamsey was a state representative. So he was really my first I guess toe in the water of politics here in Connecticut. And so he really inspired my what
Did you
has become my
come
career.
for when he got sworn in and stuff like that and visit
I
him
did.
at the
I
Capitol?
was on
That's
the
cool.
campaign trail. Yeah, exactly. So
It must have been
I
impressionable.
remember that.
And for sure.
So for me, I did not have anyone or know of anyone in government. I just had family in the military. And
Mhm.
for me, it was just a sense of getting to understand my council, getting to understand my government here in town of Bloomfield, because I
Mhm.
honestly did not pay attention to how our council runs or
Mhm.
how our local government ran. And it really educated me when I
Mhm.
started working here, in the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's interesting what you learn when you kind of see behind the curtain and how it all works.
Yeah,
And
it
then,
really was a different world because coming from an insurance background,
hmm
private sector, to me, it was just a whole different ball game here. And it was a great learning experience. It continues to be a great learning experience. And, also to get an understanding of how it relates to me as a resident.
Mm. And have you always lived in Bloomfield? Are you a lifelong resident? You moved there later in life?
So I lived in Bloomfield when I was much younger, and
Hmm.
then I moved to other towns, a few other
Hmm.
towns. And in the last maybe 6 years, I moved
Hmm.
back to
Came
Bloomfield,
back.
which I really
That's
am
cool.
enjoying.
That's nice. Um, so after the first one, we were really happy, I think, with the results, and there wasn't, much of a question about whether we would continue with women in government. But as someone who was in the room, what was it like to plan that event and see it come to fruition and to attend? What was the energy like there?
So being a newcomer to that event, I thought it
Mm,
was really engaging and it was educational. I thought having a workshop, to be engaged with, listening to the speakers and just making me as a person feel empowered to voice my opinions and
mm,
speak freely. I think it's purposeful, right?
yeah.
And when I look at it, the first round, I said, "Oh, this is something that's probably going to blow up bigger and better, and
Hmm.
it's going to elevate, not just for women, but for
Mm,
people."
yeah.
And I think it was a great opportunity to network, to have
Hmm.
resources, and get that support from everyone else.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, so like Donna, I know you know a little bit about this too, but how does this relate like to our representation matters? How is it different? Like is there training going on or what actually is going to happen at the summit?
Sure. So this annual Women in Government event really is an opportunity for us, again, to all come together once a
Hmm.
year. In the meantime, the Women in Government, just general, what we're hoping to create is in terms of an organization is really meant to throughout the year provide training opportunities. And this
Hmm.
past year, since the last event, there have been opportunities for online training, opportunities for women in government or all people to join
Hmm.
the conversation. This particular day is really, again, for us all to come together to hear from a keynote speaker and to really just be in community.
That's cool. And you said you're doing stuff year round. So does someone, if they want to get involved, not have to wait for the summit? They could get information, look up and we'll provide that later now and just start getting involved now.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's
And
that's
there's a
awesome.
whole section on CCM's website where they can get information about the Women in Government Summit and then just generally speaking, what we've been up to since the last summit.
That's cool. And what do you hope that the attendees are going to get out of this day?
From my perspective, come having been there last year and then hoping for this year, it's really again to just cultivate those relationships and just be a part of a larger community that where we can share common experiences and have conversations and really learn from one another about,
Hmm.
from our experiences. And then just to keep in touch throughout the year.
I agree with Donna. I think the most part of it is that opportunity to engage and
Hmm.
network and also to learn
Yeah.
because you get to hear the keynote speakers and you learn from what or you gravitate to
Hmm.
what their conversation is about, right?
Hmm.
And also at the end of the day, it's kind of like you make new friends, right?
Yeah.
So you collaborate with people at the event and a lot of times too, I know for me, like I was hearing people's names, like I did not know who these people were
Hmm.
working in my field. So it was great to put with the face with the name with the face. And
Yeah.
and now it's like, oh, now I know who that person is, and oh, I remember this is what she said, and this
Mm.
is what made me feel a little bit comfortable now speaking more about it.
Yeah.
The other thing too is I was inspired to be connected with such great women and
Mm.
people who have that municipality knowledge that I didn't have.
Yeah.
So that was a plus for me. And like I said, collaborate, learn, and grow in that.
Yeah. You are listening to the Municipal Voice on WNHH 103.5 FM. Where do you see this event going? Do you see it becoming an annual sort of event, or do you see it having more than annual? Like you said, there's some training stuff, but kind of say, how do you see this progressing and growing? If hopefully.
So this is my vision of it, right? I think
Hmm.
this is really an excellent opportunity for other generations. So I see this as blowing up and possibly maybe twice a year. I know
Hmm.
for now, of course you have to look at expenses too as well, right? But I
Hmm.
know for now, once a year is great, but I think future wise, because we also need to have that mindset that other generations coming up
Hmm.
into municipalities or in government will learn from what we've put out. And as I see this grow and develop into something really big, that may
Hmm.
not just include women in government, it may include women from different sectors, different,
Women in leadership.
yeah,
Yeah.
leadership, absolutely, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Donna?
just building on that, I think, I think CCM is wonderful to have inspired this event and to have put it forward and to have offered it at no cost last year. I think
Hmm.
the energy was electric. I think the result is that people are still interested in being engaged in something like this.
Hmm.
My hope, and I don't know if this is the same hope as, sort of everyone's, but is that this could be sort of or become some sort of a um club, so to speak, of
Hmm.
women who come together. And really, I think the onus is on the women who joined us last year and those that are interested in coming this year to really continue to stay engaged because
Hmm.
without the engagement, we will fall short of the people that we need to be there and maybe
Yeah.
events will just sort of fizzle out. And I think it's really incumbent, with CCM having taken the lead for the women that are involved and that wish to
Hmm.
be involved to continue to engage because
Yeah.
then that inspires the continued success of this engagement, this community building.
Yeah. And who are some of the other people that are involved? Like, because CCM, who we both you used to work for and are still involved with, and I work for. We had town government. Who else is involved?
Um, this year, I think we're trying to get some great sponsorships from
Hmm.
some engaging organizations that do work within local governments. So I think that them being engaged and involved will also, build and resonate the message around this being, a worthwhile endeavor for folks
Hmm.
to support.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, and then members of state government too, expanding again to not only include local government but state government too.
Yeah. And where actually is the event going to be held?
It's going to be held at Aria in Prospect, Connecticut
Okay, that's a cool venue. We've
on
been there before.
July 16th, I
16.
believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully they'll have those good little pastries. I'm just saying. What sort of attendance did you have last year? And like, kind of, what are you hoping for this year?
So I think it was around 100, maybe even
Hmm.
100 plus people were there last year. Would love ideally to have the same amount of folks in attendance. Again, just continuing to build on each year and,
Hmm.
not necessarily, leaving the onus to on CCM to make sure people attend, but that the women that were there last year and women that hope to attend this year, build on that momentum and stay accountable to keeping this a success.
Yeah, I guess like for both of you, is kind of your thought that, you do this for a few years, but then at some point you hand it off to, that next generation, those people that are coming for the first time now, then in a couple years they might be able to take over.
For me, that's the hope,
Yeah.
and I think that is sort of the vision that we want to project. We do this, we blow it up, we do it well, and we build a foundation so that another generation can take this over. That's what's in my mind. So and I don't want to feel that another generation should wait until we're gone. I think
Yeah.
that we need to start looking at that from now, bring someone in or have a couple other generations come in under us so that they learn and then they develop. So they have a full understanding. And of course, things can change, but they can have an understanding of how this was built, where we got to, and what's the vision for the future.
Yeah. Donna, I'm looking behind you there. You're up at the Capitol right now. You're
Yep.
familiar with what goes on there. Is anything that went on at the Capitol here, any of the legislation? something that's going to be discussed at this summit? Is there anything of concern to women? Is there time with that, or is it more focused on the municipal?
That's a good question. I would say I'm sure the uh the keynote will bring or tie in some of what's happening here
Hmm.
at the state level into her keynote address. But as it relates to what's going on here at the state capitol, I think really it's just municipal, we are focused on municipal issues, municipal
Hmm.
funding, education, things that are relevant at the local level.
Hmm.
Whether or not that's discussed, I think is sort of secondary to the inspiring conversation around women in government and just generally what your experience is as
Hmm.
a woman in government and how you transcend sort of some of these barriers that I think are there and using other women to pull you up and bring you forward.
Cool. And who is going to be the keynote for this year?
Ask me that question, and I'm not sure if that's been confirmed.
I will edit this so it'll look like you knew
Did you
instantly.
did I don't know if we should give it away.
Oh, is it a surprise? You can say it's a surprise.
Well, well, it's not really is it a surprise, Donna? I haven't
Uh,
seen anything published as who it's going to
exactly.
be
You can say it's a
at,
Yeah.
secret. That's fine.
at the
For
moment.
now, I think it's a
Okay, it's a
secret
big
for now.
secret. All right, but
Yeah,
it's
I
someone
think it's
good.
it's important that we keep some things behind the curtain
But
Correct.
it is a woman who is in fact in government in
in
Connecticut.
government. You got
Okay,
it.
so it'll be some sort of VIP. That'll be cool. Um, what would you hope a woman in government summit would look like 20 years from now?
I
Is it,
would love it to be a membership driven organization that provides opportunities for women to get professional development training, also just generally speaking, other opportunities to come together, and to Tushar's point earlier about just generational, like, commingling and
mm,
learning from experiences of those that came before us and hoping that they can carry that torch into the future and even expand upon the I think successes of the generation before them.
Tushar?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And to piggyback on that, I think some specific training that may, that policy driven, I think that would be a good opportunity to have people have the 20 years or 10 years from now be more developed within that group. So I definitely agree that we should be able to envision it as a larger group of people,
Yeah,
membership, and have that vision that will provide training, networking, and help people to be successful.
that's really cool. Um, what and Tushar, now that you said you came from the private sector and now you're in government, what's one thing that you've learned since you've been in local government that's really surprised you that most people you think probably don't know about how government works?
Policies.
Policies?
Yeah, absolutely. I did not even know they had all these different policies. And I mean, you read and you hear about a little, but I didn't realize it was so in depth, like
Hmm.
ordinances, um, especially recently with, like budget voting and all that stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
that was really a learning experience for me.
Yeah, was it your first budget season?
Yeah, it's my second budget, but this was the first attempt for a referendum.
Ooh, so yeah, there's a learning curve for you.
Yes, definitely. So I think for me, that's what I really take in with me, a lot of the
Hmm.
policies and how the way they're driven and how they get voted on and et cetera.
It's really cool. Well, thank you both for coming on the show today. We appreciate it. One more time, Donna, when is the event going to be?
July 16th at Aria in Prospect,
And
Connecticut.
they could find more information on CCM's website.
Yes, there's a link to the Women Development that's summit there.
Okay, I'll put the address up right on the screen right here. But
Perfect.
thank you both for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it. And good luck with the event.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're looking forward to it. And thank you for having me. And I have to say, I apologize for that phone ringing. I tried to disconnect it before we started, but it didn't work. So I
Don't worry, I've got
apologize.
people blowing leaves in my neighborhood. So,
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not hearing it. So you're
oh,
good.
see, we both worked out. It's perfect.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
We'd like to thank our guests. The Municipal Voice is a co-production by CCM and WNHH 103.5 FM. Joe Thornton is our executive producer. Christopher Gilson is our producer. Harry Draws is on the boards, and I'm Matt Ford, your host. Be sure to check out our Facebook page and give us a like, and watch out for our CCM chat series on our YouTube page.